60 days to 14, 15 months. And so that's where we have when we've got to build the digital twins of vehicles. So we've already done we're doing the M88 now. We've got the Bradley. We're going to do the 777 howitzer. And that 1700 is probably just for the M88. And so we're building this digital repository that will not only allow us to print, but also when we build it, it's got the type of printer it was printed on, it's got the specifications, the material that will allow other units and partners. We've qualified 6 other outside of the Army entities to be qualified suppliers. And so as we move to the future, they will manufacture and ship parts for us once we solve the qualification process.
Okay, thank you. I yield back the remainder of my time.
I thank the gentleman. We'll go to a second round of questions. And General Ryan, I want to begin with you. We know that at Radford Ammunition Plant, there's been underway a construction of a new nitrocellulose production facility. The construction started in 2008, and we're still waiting to see when we're going to get to full-rate production of nitrocellulose. When you go there and you visit, it is like taking a step back in time. You go to the current nitrocellulose production facility. It's an area where you have board planks where you go from vat to vat, where they're boiling and mixing the different components and brewing, as I like to call it, nitrocellulose. You go in there and literally it's raining from the ceiling. And when you ask the technicians there, you say, why is this place just like a sauna? And they go, oh, sir, we have to keep the level of humidity high enough so the place doesn't explode. And I'm like, boy, that gives me a lot of nice confidence that we have a modern technology facility where we're producing a highly volatile material under very, very adverse conditions. And that's how we produce the majority of our nitrocellulose. We have a nice modern facility next door, continuous flow, so we feed the chemicals together in a very controlled environment and where we don't have nearly the amount of risk. And yet that facility continues to be delayed. And the older facility there where we're cooking in an old vat on nitrocellulose is what we continue to do today. Give me some hope or some view about where we're going to be with the new production facility, when it's going to be at full rate production, and when we can finally abandon the Witch's Brew facility there where we're now concocting nitrocellulose.
Mr. Chairman, thanks for that. And I kind of share your sentiments on Radford. That was a great description and rundown. I got some good news for you.
Good.
That we've successfully completed an endurance run. Mm-hmm. We're working through the various classes of nitrocellulose, doing first article testing, and we expect to be fully commissioned by April. We're also discussing having a ribbon cutting ceremony come June, and we'll ensure that you get a personal invite.
What's that? Yeah. The question was, which April?
April of 2026.
There we go. I like it. I like it. Very good. Well, you put us on the list for the ribbon cutting ceremony, and that'll be an exciting day. Let me ask this. You know, we have places like Radford. We have a number of other facilities across the United States. We heard there in Mr. Mesmer's district and others. We have great facilities with great capacity. And we talked today about the organic industrial base, where the organic industrial base begins right at the facilities where we've had this magnificent production capability on large geographic footprints that is well situated to do even more. So the question is as we look into the future and we look at sustained increased production for our weapon systems, whether it's solid rocket motors, and they make a few of those at Radford also. How do we utilize the capability that we have in the organic industrial base of these existing facilities, not just in modernization, but also in expansion to where we have that as a fully controlled organic capability within the Army or within the armed forces for that matter, versus having to rely on contractors outside to do things? And obviously they're hesitant when we tell them build 100,000 rounds of 155, and then 5 years later when weapons magazines are full, we go, we don't need much anymore, so do 10,000 rounds a year. And they're like, well, wait a minute, we have all this sunk cost in these facilities. why would we want to do this again? So that's where we're going to have to find the right combination of organic industrial capacity as well as the private contractor capacity. Tell us how we utilize the capacity in places like Radford to the best advantage of the Army and, for that matter, across the spectrum of the armed forces.
I think Radford is unique, with nitrocellulose. It's the only U.S. source of NC. I certainly also appreciate, the Section 806 authorities that we have that gives me the ability to restrict competition and direct work there, so that when we are in a surge period, that we actually do have a capability to manufacture at scale. As we previously discussed, and your great description of how we currently make nitrocellulose, that has left us behind with some of our more advanced propellant systems. And today, while I have that authority to restrict, there's certain classes of nitrocellulose that Radford's not capable of making, and so we're forced to import from Czech Republic, the French, Koreans, and then further process in Canada before we bring it back to one of our OIB sites at Iowa, as an example, to do load assemble pack. And so we've got some, thanks to your continued support, we've got some investment planned to do the necessary things to enable us to produce, some of these, more advanced propellants, going forward. Above and beyond, just our artillery. We've also got risks in kind of our main battle tank, tactical rounds and some of the propellants there. And what we're seeing with, cannon calibers, 20 through 40 millimeter, that we're dependent on European sourcing for those propellants, and I think there's a great opportunity to continue to modernize there. I think some of the key lessons learned from Ukraine is that while our partners donated a number of howitzers, they very quickly ran out of the munitions that came with those howitzers, and it was incumbent on us to go forward and do all the safety and engineering analysis, to building of firing tables that allowed the safe use of U.S. produced munitions in those systems. And so I think there's a robust international demand, for U.S. munitions. Up to this point, in all fairness, to the facilities themselves, we've workloaded 100% of available production capacity. And as we see the kind of normalizing of, prioritization and resourcing, we're in conversations now of, hey, what does a minimum sustaining rate look like going forward? But we're also throwing out these opportunities that now we've got, available capacity that can solve, some of these international demands. We're also encouraged with a number of private equity and self-investing here in the U.S. And that's a component of, there's a new facility going to Carrollton, Texas. They're going to make, just shell bodies. Well, they're going to need a fuse. They're going to need, an explosive fill. They're going to need a propelling charge, right, in order to satisfy a European, kind of business plan that they have. And so I think there's opportunities there to leverage, the workforce, to leverage the capacity we've worked really hard to build, as well as keep our supply chains, active and, sustainable going forward.
Sure. Yeah, I think those are all important points, to have some flexibility in manufacturing capacity, especially in different forms of nitrocellulose. There's no reason why you can't have that at a single facility. There at Radford, obviously it's a GOCO, government-owned, contractor-operated facility. Great opportunity to be able to take that footprint, which is, massive, and be able to use that footprint also to be able to store nitrocellulose there. We have a number of facilities there where we can store it safely, get it out of the floodplain there on the New River. So I think those are incredibly important things, as well as looking at others. We talk about modern energetics, and obviously different forms of nitrocellulose are part of that novel energetics realm. But we also have to be able to produce the I call the base chemicals of what we need, and that's things like TNT. And I think having multiple facilities that produce TNT is going to be key too. I know that you all have opened up a new facility to be able to do some of that, but I think additional capability there is also going to be key. So looking at those things and making sure we're properly capitalizing that, and then get commitments from our allies to where they will, if not buying the munitions from us, at least buy the base components to where we can ensure sustainability, because it's in everybody's interest to make sure that we have that capability. I would argue that those